Welcome back, boys and girls. I hope you're all doing good, having a great day. Today is a requested video, an interesting one at that. How to build your secondary attributes inside of Diablo Immortal properly. If you go take a look at the secondary attributes I have at the moment, as a wizard, my armor is somewhat at 5100. Armor penetration potency is much higher compared to armor and resistance because every single class inside of a Diablo Immortal plays a different role either for PvE or PvP, but my attributes are basically built up for PvP, and so what I need the most is the armor penetration and potency. And when it comes to the secondary attributes, you would be building them up mainly for the PvP. When it comes to the PvE, the importance of secondary attributes, at least in my opinion, isn't that high. We can basically click on them, and the required attributes that we have is already pretty high compared to what we need for Inferno 9. So the importance of secondary attributes comes into play when you are actually doing Battleground, PvP, Shadow War, things like that. And now the biggest question is gonna be, can you still have somewhat decent amount of secondary attributes as a complete free-to-play player? And my answer to that is gonna be yes. If we change the screen, you guys should able to see this on your screen. This is from a free-to-play player, Indez. One of you guys reached out to me in a DM and asked me, hey, Apollyon, is it possible to have secondary attributes like this? Is it true a free-to-play player can have secondary attributes like this? And my answer to that was yes, it is possible. It does take time, but you can basically reach something like this. We can see he has about 5,263 armor and 5543 armor penetration, meaning he is using one more blue gem for armor penetration compared to the armor, focusing on a bit more bonus of a critical hit damage versus the blaze. And when it comes to the potency, he is not utilizing all that many potency gems in yellow sockets and instead focusing a bit more on the resistance gems, probably only using maybe one potency gem, and everything else is resistance yellow gem. And so yes, you can reach secondary attributes like this if you keep on playing, grinding normal gems for any party of 4, doing your weekly gems for the hidden layer, urban, whatever you like to play, and eventually you will able to reach something like this if you don't sell any of your gems. And now, before I move on to how to build your secondary attributes properly, I do want to break this down. What could be the reason of having a bit more armor penetration and resistance? So at least what I can tell from this screenshot, he is trying to avoid the crowd control effects, damage over time effects from having more resistance. The more resistance you have, you can reduce the duration of crowd control effects from a wizard, and damage over time effects from the other gems, and also damage over time effects from the necromancer. That could be the reason, well, that is the reason why he has a lot more resistance compared to the potency. He is not utilizing damage over time or the CC all that much in the build he is playing, and so he doesn't care about potency all that much. But when it comes to the armor, it tells me a story that he does like to get close and personal with other players, and so making sure he has enough armor that he feel comfortable getting close and personal with the players, even around 3000 4000 reso out there, and making sure he can land a good hit on them. So that was a breakdown, a quick breakdown of what could be the reason of why he decided to have secondary attributes like that. And now we're gonna dive into everything that you can do to build your secondary attributes properly. The number one is going to be never go for the primary gear that gives you the intelligence and vitality. or it could be like strength and vitality. Whatever class you're playing, it depends. The range classes use intelligence, strength classes, or the melee classes use the strength. So don't go for the gear pieces that comes with intelligence, strength, and vitality. You should be focusing on getting fortitude and willpower on every single piece of gear that you have. You can see every single piece of gear I have here. It comes with the fortitude and willpower, and if you are someone who wants to min-max everything, then what you can do is try and get the primary gear pieces, the orange one with the fortitude and willpower only. If it comes with 2 attributes only, then the amount that you will be getting is going to be a lot higher compared to what you get on a piece of equipment that comes with 3 attributes. The only difference there is going to be that this gear piece of gear gives me or gives you a lot more combat rating compared to a piece of gear that only has around 2 attributes. But we need to keep this in mind. It doesn't matter how much combat rating you can get, because you are not gonna be able to reach someone who is using 5-star legendary gems and has higher resonance. They will always have more combat rating compared to you, especially if you are somewhat a free-to-play or low spender. So it could be maybe better for you to try and focus on the gear pieces that comes with fortitude and willpower. But you are the only person who can actually know that what is better for you. Everyone plays differently. They have their own play style. But like I said, you will be the only person who will be able to answer what benefit you the most. Having attributes which only gives you the fortitude or willpower, or having more combat rating and a bit less attributes from the gear pieces. And yeah, moving on to the next piece of advice that you can use to your advantage, that is going to be the reliquary. Again, use only the pieces here that gives you these fortitude and willpower. It does give you some, and so only use what gives you the most of these. Don't use the strength and vitality one here. Always try and go for willpower and fortitude. And the last piece of advice I have for everyone, and that is gonna be the legacy of Forwardrum or the Sanctum. I personally have not put any points in damage, no points in life, and again no points in the damage and life. Everything I have been just focusing on the armor penetration, armor potency, resistance, and you can see that is what I have been focusing on. But let's say if you want to play a role of a tank only, you are a blood knight, you are a druid, then you don't actually need to care about potency all that much. You can basically dump everything into resistance and armor. You can build your character like that as well. So a lot of options right there. You don't need to keep everything in balance when it comes to the Sanctum. You can basically put a lot of points in one stat. If you are a tank, go for armor and resistance. That is going to benefit you quite a lot. I have seen a ton of people doing that in PvP. Or you can go dump everything into potency and armor penetration and don't care about the resistance and armor. Be a glass cannon doing a lot of damage. I have seen plays like that as well. But that was a quick one. What to focus on to properly build your secondary attributes. And yes, it is possible to build your secondary attributes as a free-to-play player. It just takes a lot of grind, not missing out on the weekly, daily gems that you can obtain, and not selling them either. Hopefully this clear out a few things that you had in your mind. Now I am signing off. You guys take care of yourself, have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one later, guys.